Welcome to the Monday Kickoff, everyone. Hope you guys are having an amazing start of the week, and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. As usual, in today's video, guys, we're gonna have a full breakdown of all of the events coming to Raid Shadow Legends this week, and I can tell you one thing, there are tons and tons of different events, including a brand new fusion around the corner, which is a bit surprising, to be honest with you guys, because we just finished the Thor fusion, right? If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you smash a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment and help with that YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate it. Of course, we have everyone's favorite game mode starting tomorrow, which is Clan versus Clan. This time around, it is featuring personal rewards. Now, the rewards themselves, they don't seem to be much better than usual, so it's nothing special. In terms of tier rewards, we have stun gear, we have retaliation, and I do want to give you guys a bit of a warning. This time around, this CVC will be pretty damn crazy. A lot of people will try to go for the 5 million badge. And I'm talking about the big Krakens, the big whales in the game, all of the top clans. Recently, they introduced this crazy thing right here. CVC Master. Reach 5 million points, guys, okay? So it's gonna be pretty damn nasty. I can already see quite a few clans breaking 20, 30, 40, 50 million points. But we're gonna see it better tomorrow and the day after. Of course, together with the CVC, we do have a summoning event, but we're gonna get to that in just a second. First, I quickly want to talk about the Titan event, guys. So, in the very first week, we were able to collect 1,010 points, and we're gonna be able to collect 740 more in this week. Keep that in mind just to make sure you're not missing out on any of the points. You can skip a total of 250 points. You need 1,500 points to get a 5-star perfect soul. So make sure you guys are planning it right to don't miss out like 10, 20, 30, 40 points because it's going to be quite a bit of a bummer if that's the case, you know. A new artifact enhancement event started today, and I gotta say it, they are pretty damn costly, man. 5,600 points to collect all of the hammer points, and we kind of like have to do it. Not to mention that the last reward is 50 brews. Plarium, what happened? You woke up in a bad mood or something? 50 brews for the biggest reward in an event is a bit disappointing. Now, in terms of tournaments, guys, the biggest whale fest that we had in the last couple of months kind of like came to an end, and I am talking about the Champion Chase tournament where we had Odin as the main reward, right? I know a lot of you guys posted all over the socials that you managed to get the first place. Now, I do want to give you guys one tip. Do not collect the champion today. Wait for the CVC. You're going to get 30k points, and then you can build the champion, book him, etc., and get more points in the CVC. That's what I'm going to do because I am a bit dry on resources after I had to put up 34,000 points. Was not my initial plan, but this guy right here, the Bulligator, he was trying to creep on me Friday and Saturday, so I was like, you know what? I'll rather put in some points to make sure he's not gonna dream about sniping me or anything like that, because it can get pretty risky, especially if you don't have a lot of space to summon champions and stuff. Another thing that I do want to mention about this type of tournaments, they have a cap of 10,000 points in order to collect the reward. I've seen a lot of you guys that won the first place with 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 points, and it's such a bummer to don't be able to collect the reward. So Plarium, in the name of God, please lower that requirement to at least 5,000, okay? You should not put it more than 5,000 no matter what, because not every single player in this game can reach 10k points, and I feel like they're basically just getting slapped in the face when they cannot collect the reward. And it's a bit of a bummer, right? You have players of all sort of calibers. Players that spend, free-to-play players that should be able to get the reward if they won the first place. This is something that they introduced like 6 months ago or something like that, and it's definitely not very good. Now, we do have a Spider tournament, which requires us to use champions only from the Barbarian faction, guys. The rewards are fairly decent. We do have some Prism Crystals in here. We're going to get to that event as well. But again, you're going to have 80 Titan points from here. So make sure you guys are going to make it happen. You can do teams with the Barbarian faction only by using epics. If you guys remember, a while ago, we had some sort of a competition with other content creators. I think Dadwood Jedi hosted that, the faction competition. So I had the Barbarians, and I actually had to make a team for the spider dungeon, and I made a pretty crazy one. I think it took me like 30 or 40 seconds to farm stage 20, and I used, of course, HP Burn Jotun, and I spread the debuffs, but I can't remember, was it Harken Great Blade that can spread the debuffs? Yeah, with her together. So I was spreading the HP Burn. It's pretty easy to make it work with some epics as well. You don't necessarily need to have any of the legendaries, but of course you can use them if you have them available, especially if you have Krognam from the referral program. Is going to be an easy peasy. Elder Skarg is going to do an amazing job in there as well. So you have plenty of different options to make it happen. It might be a bit harder to make stage 10 on hard mode, to be honest with you guys, but in this case, you're going to need to farm whatever you can farm in order to complete the event, you know. We will have another tournament starting tomorrow, which will be for the event dungeon, the Odin's Trial tournament. We have a tag team arena tournament that started yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. These are pretty easy events usually, and they do tend to give you some of the big currency for souls rather than soulstones, right? So definitely try to complete these ones. Now, in terms of orc summoning pool, guys, I gotta say it, this is probably the worst summoning pool that we ever had from Prism Crystals events. These two new orc champions, the faction Unity one and the other one, they're honestly pretty underwhelming. Not only to add that on top of it, the orc faction kind of sucks in terms of legendaries. Yes, you have Raka, you have Warlord, you have Artag that can put in a bit of work, but the rest of them are really underwhelming, honestly, and they're not really going to create any insane combo for the faction Unity or for anything that you might have in mind with them. So I wouldn't really bother with them, to be honest. Yes, seems like we are getting one summon from the event. So if you're going to score a legendary, GG's. If not, again, GG's basically, you know. So you're going to have to try and engage with that tournament regardless of the summon, because you need the Titan points, right? Now, on top of all these guys, before we get to the summoning events and stuff like this, I do quickly want to talk about the calendar that we have right here. I did mention a brand new fusion starting soon. So as you may notice right here, we have a warm-up event starting on Friday the 27th, which is in exactly 4 days. Now, that will go all the way to Tuesday the 1st. So I really think that the fusion this time around will start earlier. So most likely the fusion will start on the 30th. Now, in the past, we had fusions in October at the very beginning or end of September, and that's mainly for the Oktoberfest. So right here, the dates for the Oktoberfest, guys, are from the 21st of September going all the way to 6th of October. So it might be a teamed champion. It might not. In the past, we had Molly Tankard, and we had quite a few different similar champions. Now, if we're quickly going to have a look at all of the fusions that we had in the past, as you may notice right here at 2023, we had one starting on the 28th of October, and that was Bombus Forleaf, right? It's kind of a bit in the team, not as much as previously in 2022, where we got Morrigan. That was from the 27th, actually. We got Maronix, to be more specific, on 4th of October. Then in 2021, we had Sigmund the High Shield, which, yes, is more in the team with the Oktoberfest than the rest. And in 2020, we actually had Vergumkar. And in 2019, we had Molly Tankard. So I feel like it will be a bit in the team with Oktoberfest, most likely. Of course, there is a chance for that to don't be the case. Another thing that I quickly want to mention, guys, we have the Adventure Deck of Fate. Now, a lot of people are already asking, Skratch, why are they not mentioning that this Deck of Fate will give us Freya? Is this a completely different Deck of Fate? Very likely. It's a very high chance for it to be a completely different event, to be honest with you guys. As you may notice right here, take part in a Deck of Fate event to get valuable in-game rewards, earn fate points through in-game activities, and use them to flip cards which contain reward underneath. Sorry, the rarer the card, the better the reward. Don't miss out on this Deck of Fate. So before, they were actually mentioning here the artifacts. So we're going to get artifacts, we're going to get hammer points, but they're not saying anything about a champion. Now, this is not unusual. Most of the times, they're not mentioning the champion because if you know already that this deck of fate will have the champion, you're not going to summon. And how we had the weekend, you are not going to summon most likely during the 2x. Now we have a 15x starting tomorrow. If you know that the champion is there, most likely you won't summon unless you're a Kraken, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the deck of fate that will give us Freya. Now, of course, I'm not 100% sure if right here at the news we can still check when the Asgard Divide event started and how long it's going to actually last. Maybe we're going to be able to see it right here. Maybe not, okay? But either way, we have approximately 1 month left from the Asgard Divide event. So if this is not going to be that deck of fate, we're most likely going to have a different one in the near future. Now, as you guys probably noticed on the calendar, this deck of fate will start on Thursday, right? Thursday the 26th. And as you may notice, we have no Summon Rush, we have no Champion Chase tournament throughout the weekend. So this is the third summoning event for the Titan event, which means that if you haven't skipped the other 2 summoning events, you can skip this one if Freya is not part of it. So you won't have to summon throughout the weekend, and you can save your shards for the next deck of fate that will most likely start in 2 or 3 weeks before the Asgard Divide event ends. I just wanted to mention that to kind of like make it crystal clear that it is still very possible for this one to be the deck of fate that we are kind of like waiting for. If not, it will kind of like interconnect with the fusion, so we're going to be able to double dip a lot of points, maybe, if they're not doing it throughout midweek. Now, another thing that I want to mention, guys, if you haven't completed your clan quest, make sure you guys head over and get that done. If you still need to purchase anything from the clan shop, again, I would strongly suggest you to go and do it. And it's pretty much the same situation with the bazaar from the tag team arena. Maybe you're gonna have your reset, like I have it right here, 2 more hours to gather energy and 2 more hours to gather rank charms and the rest. Make sure you guys head over and do it. Now, leaving all of this on the side, guys, tons of events, tons of news, as I mentioned. We do have the summoning event. I'm quickly gonna bring it on the screen for you guys so you can see all of the champions if you're impatient, right? I'm quickly gonna say a couple of words about each one of these champions, which one is worth it, which one is not, basically. So, as usual, the chances to summon legendaries, guys, are staying the same. 0.5% from Ancients, 0.5% from Voids, 6% from Sacreds, 1% from Primal Shards. We don't have any epics on this 15x progressive chance, just the legendaries that you can see right here on the screen. So starting with Kyoku, guys, she's actually an amazing defense-based champion. I feel like the very first day has a theme of ally protection. The second day has a theme of HP burn, if I'm not mistaken, you know. So she can be a very nice champion for the Cursiri, for Faction Wars. You can even use her in Tag Team Arena, in Clan Boss. She's not really the best champion for Hydra, to be honest, but she's a very good tank, and she does an amazing job at helping your team to stay alive. This passive is honestly one of the best things on her. The increased defense, the healing. Then you have this decreased attack. If you're not landing that, you're going to have HP burn. You can land the weaken with the basic skill, and you have a defense aura for all battles. The next champion is Sneak Track. One of the champions that I managed to summon recently, and I still haven't used this champion yet. So I can't really tell you if he's a bad champion, if he's an amazing champion. I'm pretty convinced he's not an amazing champion. That explains it why a lot of people are not really using him. But at the same time, he's not a bad champion. So he's kind of like a mid-tier champion that can do some pretty funky things. So with the A1, he has a chance to land decreased attack. With the A2, AoE, decreased speed, places a shield. With the A3, ally protection and reflect damage. And the passive, whenever an ally under a reflect damage buff is attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. You can use this champion in Hydra if you want. Of course, it's going to be great for Faction Wars. For Arena, reflect damage doesn't seem to be that great just in general. You know, when you have shield, you can't really reflect the damage, so that's a bit of a big rip. But you can use him for the Cursiri, for the Doom Towers. He's a tanky champion, right? So it's going to be easier to keep him alive. Then we have Kira the Watcher. She's a decent ally protection champion, but the best thing to do with her is to fuse Lady Mikage. So right here, you have a chance to attempt and get this champion if you're still missing her for the Lady Mikage fusion. But honestly, the chances to get a 15x champions are super low, okay? So don't have your hopes super high, you know? She has a very similar passive with Krisk. When allies are attacked under ally protection buff, she places a decreased attack. Then she has this skill which places an ally protection buff and an increased defense. And right here you have an AoE attack which lands a decreased accuracy on enemies and decreased attack on the A1. Decent progression champion, but she's gonna be she's gonna drop out of your teams pretty quick, you know. Then we have Giat, the Truth Shield. I think that's the Knight Revenant. I'm always kind of like forgetting who she is, till I'm kind of like, beep beep. She's the Knight Revenant one. She sounded pretty interesting on paper, especially with this skill that kind of like gives you the impression that it's gonna deal crazy damage. It's not really the case. Seer is gonna absolutely vault her instantly, you know. Reflect damage, ally protection, strengthen, and increase resistance only on herself though. With the A1, decrease crit rate or decrease crit damage and increase defense on this champion. The passive, interesting. I would still not build this champion, okay? So even if I would get her tomorrow as an example, I wouldn't bother to build a champion because she doesn't really shine in any content, at least for the end game. Now, progression-wise, pretty much every champion can help you somewhere, okay? So let me just make that clear. It doesn't matter if you're pulling the worst rated legendary champion in the game. Progression-wise, every champion can help you somewhere, okay? But that doesn't mean that that champion is actually amazing. The amazing champions are the ones that outlive the progression. The champions that have use in endgame, and no matter where you are in the game, you're going to be able to get some value out of those champions. Moving over to the Void legendaries, guys, we do have Nakret the Great, still a very powerful champion. Not meta for a high-end arena anymore, but now everybody's in high-end arena, so which means that Nakret is still a beast, okay? He has these crazy good passives. Basically, he can keep your nuker alive, he can keep a champion alive, give him immunity, give him a shield, the ally protection. You have ally attack with this champion, you have decreased attack. Very solid champion, and he only requires like 6 books as well, you know? You can build him on a stone skin plus a bolster, run him in live arena. His main counter is Nakret. His main counter is Narcis. So, since the release of Narcis, Nakret dropped in value. But that's mainly the only thing that kind of like keeps him at bay, you know? A very solid champion. Then we have Ursaga Warcaller. I feel like she dropped out of the meta a very long time ago. She used to be the GOAT in arena like 2-3 years ago, guys. You have ally protection and strengthen, decrease attack, decrease crit damage, block active skills. This passive that will actually soak in some of the damage from the rest of your champions. The best build for her back in the day was a Guardian set, which mitigates even more damage. Right now, you could pair that with a stone skin, for example, you know, or a bolster and a stone skin, or a bolster and a Guardian set. But she's not really OP anywhere, you know, to be honest with you guys. She's a good support, but nothing that breaks the game, you know what I mean? And on Wednesday, guys, they are planning to launch a different 15x progressive chance, and this team is HP Burn. We have Mishinaki, super powerful champion for the Hydra clan boss, defense down. You have HP Burn, you have the hacks, remove buffs, the passive that will join the attack. Honestly, he's still a very solid champion. I'm still using mine on Brutal. I wish I would have a 6-star for him though. But overall, a very solid champion, and he was guaranteed in a summon rush a while ago. Then we have Cupidus. Another decent champion for the Hydra clan boss if you can pair him with Venus. Without Venus, Cupidus on its own is not that special. I'll be very honest with you guys. They got buffed together a while ago, and they became meta for a while in arena. And that's mainly because he's always going to counterattack when Venus is on the same team. He buffs himself with increased attack. You have AoE HP burn, AoE on the basic skill. Tons of damage, but he dropped out of the meta. And it's very easy to counter him nowadays with a Sun Wukong, with an Armance, for example, or different champions that ignore Stone Skin and just put him to sleep. But mainly, you want to pair him with Venus, with Nakret, and a different champion in the team, you know? But still not a bad one. Then we have Hundik from the Dwarves. He was a fusion as well, and a lot of people hated on this fusion, but he's very strong as a champion. He brings tons of debuffs, tons of utility, and very good damage as well. I am using mine in the Dark Fae, using him in the Curse series, using him in Faction Wars and stuff. He can be an arena nuker if you don't really have better options, but I do have to say that in terms of Arena as a main nuker, he dropped a lot because he doesn't really do anything crazy in terms of ignoring defense and stuff like that. But the A1, which is the best thing for Arena, if you get locked out and you kill somebody, you're going to decrease the cooldown of the A3. Now with this skill, you're going to deplete the Thermometer, you're going to land Weaken, you can land HP Burn as well, and this will be an AoE as well if the first attack is critical. The A2 AoE attack will decrease defense and decrease accuracy, very, very nice. The passive is definitely not bad either, which manipulates a bit the Thermometer, attack aura for Arena battles. Still a solid champion, but not really for Arena, to be honest with you guys. Then we have Walking Tomb Drang. If you don't have Ninja, but everybody should have Ninja now because we just got him for free 1 or 2 months ago. Drang can work very well with Godseeker and Eerie to duo the Sand Devil's Necropolis. Now, if you want to use your Ninja in the Hydra Clan boss and you don't want to give him Brimstone, you can use Walking Tomb Drang instead of him with Godseeker and Eerie to duo the Sand Devil's Necropolis. But only if you have a 5-star blessing on him. If not, it's going to be pretty slow to get the job done. He activates HP Burn with the A1. His HP Burn cannot be resisted, which makes him great for the Spider Dungeon to land the HP Burn. And equalizes the HP of all allies. Definitely not a bad champion, and he was a fusion as well. Then we have Rho Bone Spear. She's the GOAT when we're talking about Sand Devil's Necropolis, the Phantom Shogun, and you can definitely use her in many different areas, including Arena, including Clan Boss. She has one of the craziest skills in the entire game. Like, look at all of these freaking debuffs landing from one skill. Then Clans, Healing, Block debuffs, the A1, Continuous Heal. The passive instantly transfers a debuff that this champion gets to the attacker. So if, let's just say you're going against a champion that will debuff you in Arena, she's quickly going to get that debuff, transfer it back, and instantly allow you to cleanse if you're building her fast enough. So pretty solid champion. And then we have Tesia from the Skinwalkers. Good champion. She actually surprised me in the Hydra Clan boss. I should make a guide on her for the Hydra Clan boss, hopefully this week. Defense down on the A1, AoE, HP burn, or a stun, or decrease speed. And right here, the more HP burn on targets, the higher the damage. So in the Spider, she can put in some serious work. And even in the Hydra, I've seen her doing some crazy, crazy things. But of course, she's not one of the top damage dealers, but she can still do a pretty good job, you know. And the passive is not bad either. But that's pretty much everything for this Monday kickoff, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you curious to see what sort of fusion we're gonna get? Are you surprised that we already have a fusion coming our way? And considering that we have the Deck of Fate, which we are not sure if this is gonna be the one with Freya or not, we kind of like need to start prepping our resources, okay? And yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. If this Deck of Fate doesn't have Freya, I'm not gonna go for it. But that was all for the video. Much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.